The Buddha's unsurpassed, great path is immensely high, deep, and vast. Hence, his wisdom and capacity cannot be expressed or recorded either verbally or in writing. If I were to give the gist of his teaching, we know only that all sentient beings are subject to birth and death, but do not know of their many other lives. The Buddha knew the principle free from birth and death, and endless lifetimes through rebirth. We do not even understand the fundamental principle governing our own selves. But the Buddha understood the fundamental principle governing all things in the universe. We fall into unwholesome destinies, unable to distinguish between wholesome and unwholesome paths. The Buddha, after delivering himself, gained the ability to deliver all sentient beings, from unwholesome destinies to wholesome destinies throughout the worlds of the 10 directions. We do not understand even the suffering and happiness we create for ourselves. But the Buddha understood all suffering and happiness, whether inadvertent or self-created. We enjoy the fruits of our merit but can do nothing when it is exhausted. But the Buddha has the ability to restore merit once it is exhausted. We live without discerning whether our wisdom is becoming dull or bright. But the Buddha has the ability to illuminate dulled wisdom and sustain it once attained. We often commit wrongful actions under the influence of greed, hatred, and delusion. But the Buddha never acts on greed, hatred, and delusion. We are attached to the existence of all things in the universe, but are ignorant of the realm where all things in the universe are non-existent. The Buddha knew even the non-existence amid existence and the existence amid non-existence. We have no knowledge of the 6 rebirth destinies or the 4 modes of birth. But the Buddha knew the principle governing rebirth between all these destinies and modes. We take advantage of others for our own benefit. But the Buddha sought to benefit both himself and others, even at the risk of his own life. We only possess limited objects, our home is just a house, and family only relatives. But the Buddha called all things in the universe his possessions, the worlds his home, and all sentient beings his family. Hence, our aim is to strive to attain the Buddha's wisdom and abilities, and exert ourselves to deliver all sentient beings. The doctrines and institutions of Buddhism of the past were organized mainly in terms of monastic orders, which were not well suited to people living in the secular world. Adherents leading secular lives were guests rather than hosts. It was difficult for almost everyone else to become part of the Buddha's direct lineage. Furthermore, while religions are concerned with people, Buddhist temples are located in the mountains. How can people busy with secular lives make time to visit Buddhist temples? Also, Buddhist scriptures are full of language difficult for ordinary people to understand. You could hardly teach them to a wide group encompassing the learned and ignorant, men and women, young and old. As for sustaining life, Buddhist monks relied only on contributions from offerings and donations. How can this type of life be practiced by everyone? Marriage, too, was strictly prohibited. Rules of propriety governing secular life were also not articulated, only those for formal offerings. How can we consider their lives to be well-rounded? Therefore, we will be concerned only with the rank of practice, and work without discriminating between laity and clergy in terms of guests or hosts. Nor will we discriminate between them in the matter of the Buddhist lineage. We will designate places for practice wherever adherents reside, and make our doctrines accessible to all classes of people by choosing essential points. For the life of the ordained, we will allow them to choose an occupation as their personal situations require, and will also leave to them the decision whether to marry or not. Let us formulate rules of propriety in terms mainly of practical Buddha offerings that are more appropriate and beneficial to life in the secular world. Even the ordained, except in special situations, should in their youth learn to read, and in their prime of life engage in study of the way and endeavor to deliver others. In their old age they should retire to a place of quiet leisure and natural beauty, be rid of all attachments and cravings of the secular world, and further reflect upon the great matter of birth and death, making rounds in spring and autumn to different temples and cities and villages to exert themselves in edification, and returning in summer and winter to a life mainly devoted to spiritual cultivation. Our aim is thus to provide for a flawless life as long as we may live, and to make the organization impeccable by bringing it into accord with the current time and human needs. The Subjects taught by the Buddhist traditions of the past included teaching the sutras, teaching the methods of seated meditation while keeping a wadu, reciting the Buddha's name, intoning mantras, or making offerings. As for the original intent underlying these various teachings, all the scriptures were taught to reveal doctrines. Wadu meditation was taught as a way of awakening to a sublime truth inaccessible through scriptural studies. Reciting the Buddha's name and intoning mantras were taught especially to neophytes to concentrate their distracted minds. Since the many attachments and cravings of life make it difficult for them to enter the right path, the method of Buddha offerings was taught as a way of fulfilling adherents' wishes and receiving assistance. In the adherence practice, all these subjects should be mastered by every person. However, narrow practices that cling to only one or two of them have produced factional strife, creating many hindrances to the believer's faith or practice. Thus, we have unified all these subjects, studying the many wadas of the SNN school and all the skras of the Kyo school, and setting aside the complicated wadas and skras, we have designated wadas and skras that elucidate crucial principles and essential meanings as the subjects for attaining the power of inquiry into human affairs and universal principles. Studying the methods of reciting the Buddha's name, seated meditation, and intoning mantras, we have designated those as subjects of cultivation that help to concentrate the mind. Studying all the disciplinary precepts, the particulars of karmic retribution and reward, and the way of the fourfold grace, we have designated those to be the subjects of choice in action that are most appropriate for secular life. I have required our adherents to undertake these three great subjects simultaneously, so that by studying these subjects of inquiry, they will attain, like the Buddha, the power of inquiry. That has no impediment as regards either universal principles or human affairs. By studying the subjects of cultivation, they will attain, like the Buddha, the power of cultivation. That is not affected by events or things. And by studying the subjects of choice, they will attain, like the Buddha, the power of choice. That allows them to analyze right and wrong and to engage in right action. If we take these three great powers as the means of making Buddha offerings in our daily lives, and as the motive force that accomplishes all vows, then all doctrines will naturally be unified. And the practice of believers will also be well-rounded.